Right now on Two Works for You, we're getting you winter ready. Green Country already received a little taste of winter this month. Around 2 inches of snow blanketed the area on Veterans Day, but it still wasn't enough to cancel schools. Tonight, we're getting you prepared for the next winter storm. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Collier. Over the next half hour, we'll show you some of the best ways to get winter ready, including your pets, your home, and your car. Plus, we'll show you what to expect this winter with our brand new winter outlook. The city of Tulsa is ready for winter. About 170 street department employees use 67 salt spreaders, including 49 snow plows and 12,000 tons of salt. They also have 2 new salt brine trucks introduced last winter to better treat the roads than with salt alone.
It just sprays a solution of salt and water on the roadway, and the water will dissipate, and then the salt will adhere to the surface, and it creates a barrier so we don't have any frozen precipitation that'll bond to the roadway.
City crews have more than 1,700 miles of road to treat when there's any threat of any kind of frozen precipitation.
I'm meteorologist Kirsten Lang. We're going to take a look at some of the most common precipitation, wintry precip, and just rainfall that comes here in Green Country during the colder months. So we're going to take a look at rain, of course, the most common that we see, but then also freezing rain, sleet, and then, of course, snowfall. Starting off with rainfall, which is what we commonly see here, what happens is that the moisture falls from the clouds. It hits a cold freezing layer, so it starts as snowfall, but then as it hits that above freezing warm layer there that extends all the way to the ground, it melts and then comes down upon contact as rain. Now the second one that we're looking at as freezing rain. So again, like before, it hits a freezing layer as it comes out of the cloud base. Then it melts as it goes through a warmer layer, but then freezes again upon contact with this shallow cold surface here right above the ground. And now what you notice between freezing rain and sleet is that that cold layer there right above the ground is actually a little bit deeper for sleet. So what happens with that is that it comes down, it melts again like we were showing you before, but then refreezes into ice pellets in that cold layer. Again, that cold layer with sleet's just a little bit deeper. And then the fourth and final one, of course, snowfall. You have freezing conditions from the cloud base extending all the way to the ground. And in this particular situation, of course, it comes down in the form of snowfall. With your wintry precipitation types, I'm meteorologist Kirsten Lang.
Thanks, Kirsten. Well, before that frozen precipitation even falls from the sky, a winter weather alert is issued. Those come from the National Weather Service. Meteorologist Tab Price shows us the difference between these type of winter alerts.
During the winter season in eastern Oklahoma, we have several advisories, watches, or warnings that we can see. We want to take a look, first of all, at a winter weather advisory. What is it? Well, it's issued when we expect between 1 and 3 inches of snowfall and or less than 1/4 inch of ice and or less than 1/2 inch of sleet. That would be a winter weather advisory. A winter storm watch is issued when we expect the possibility of accumulating snow, sleet, and or freezing rain to cause severe impacts on society. And you notice it is issued about 12 to 48 hours out. When we upgrade this to a winter storm warning, that's when we expect 4 inches of snow or greater and or at least 1/2 inch of sleet, and that also could be accompanied by gusty winds, generally out of the north, which can drop our wind chills, and we know it's always windy here in eastern Oklahoma during the winter season. Every once in a while we see a blizzard warning here for parts of northeast Oklahoma. That's issued 8 to 36 hours out when sustained winds or frequent gusts are over 35 miles per hour, and that causes falling and blowing snow to reduce visibilities below 1/4 mile for 3 hours or longer. And finally, we want to take a look at the ice storm warning. That's issued 8 to 36 hours out, and it's issued whenever we expect heavy ice accumulations of greater than 1/4 inch of ice or more. And what are we expecting? Well, we're expecting it within 12 hours due to freezing rain.
Thanks, Taft. I appreciate that. Next, we're making sure you're winter ready on the roads. We all need some reminders each year when it comes to driving in winter weather. Meteorologist Brandon Holy went on the road with AAA to get some pointers when it comes to snow and ice.
So what are some tips? Let's start with ice, Mark.
Ice, I think the thing about ice is that whether it's 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
You've either got 2 tires sliding or you've got 4. So especially with ice, you want to treat the gas and the brake pedal as if you've got a raw egg taped to each one, and you are trying not to crack it or bust it all over your car.
And that could be tough.
And that could be tough. A very, very light, gentle touch when either accelerating or braking.
Goes a long way.
Yes, and try not to use either of those pedals unless you absolutely have to. If you're going up a hill, you're going to want to make sure that you get a little speed before you start the incline. As you crest the top of an ice-covered hill, obviously slow down and start to tap your brakes down on the way down.
Now let's transition over to snow. What are the best tips for people driving in snow?
You know, the same thing applies, speed and distance, but also you need to have the car completely clear of snow. Take the extra 5 minutes, get all of the headlights, taillights, the windows, the roof cleared of snow, your hood. So the last thing you want is to have the engine start to heat up, loosen the snow from the top of the hood, and have all of that blow onto your windshield, and then your visibility's gone.
Now, Mark, if people just got a new car with anti-lock brakes, the latest braking system, what can you tell people about how to properly utilize those new features?
Well, it's going to feel different. When you start to go into a slide or the vehicle loses its ability to brake on a smooth surface, the anti-locks are going to kick in. It's going to be a pulsating feeling and a sound. Go with it. Just let the vehicle do what it's trained to do with this new system.
Is your car ready for extended cold temperatures? Meteorologist Tav Price went to an auto repair shop to learn the top 5 things you need to get checked.
And down here at Encina's Automotive here in Brookside with Mike, and Mike, cold weather is on the way. What are some of the things that we need to think about in order to get our car ready for the cold weather?
Well, first and most important, of course, is a good strong battery. Anytime you've got a battery 4 or 5 years old, you better watch out. Make sure your battery's good. Fluids need to be checked. Of course, antifreeze needs to be very strong for the real cold weather. Good fresh oil change and good wiper blades for the so you can see in the bad weather. And then, of course, good tires.
And obviously, we're talking about tires. It's the tread that's the most important part.
Right.
Because of the snow, you want to make sure you get a good grip.
Correct, yeah. Generally, you can take a penny and stick it in the tread, and if you can see the head of the penny, it's time for some tires.
And when we talk about windshield wipers, obviously you want good windshield wipers. What about the fluid itself? You obviously want one that's going to be able to withstand the cold temperatures as well.
Definitely. Never put straight water in your windshield washer tank. You wake up and it'll be a solid block of ice, and you won't have nothing to squirt on the windshield. So a good fluid, keep it fresh.
And when we talk about oil, make sure that, is it probably best to maybe get an oil change as we lead on into the wintertime to make sure
if you're anywhere close, good fresh oil change, good oil, just makes everything work that much better.
All right, anything else that we need to think about to get our car ready?
No, I can really think of just common sense stuff.
Common sense stuff, but it's things that we definitely need to know each and every year.
Yes, sir.
Mike, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, coming up next, we're making sure your home is winter ready. Now that we've already gotten a taste of below freezing temperatures, it's important to be aware of the potential dangers in your home. Tulsa firefighters say if you have a gas furnace, you should get it checked to make sure you're not at risk for carbon monoxide poisoning. Older units are more prone to cause problems from carbon monoxide. Space heaters are another danger. Experts place the heaters at least 3 feet away from furniture and put them on flat surfaces so they can't fall over.
Make sure they're not left on when you leave the room, and don't go to sleep with those space heaters on.
Also, remember to keep clothes on the floor away from those space heaters. Well, when the cold kicks in, it's important to remember the 3 Ps: people, pipes, and pets. Meteorologist Kirsten Lang highlights several easy things every pet owner should do this upcoming winter.
Well, it's an easy guideline. If you wouldn't leave your kids unprotected in the cold weather, then you shouldn't do that with your pets either. While it may seem easy to remember, it doesn't always happen. So here's a few quick things to remember when preparing your pets for the cold. First, make sure to insulate the dog and cat houses.
If you have a dog house outside, then going to be outside or whatever, you want the door facing south instead of north, because most of the wind, I'm not a meteorologist, most of the wind comes out of the north usually, and that's how they get kind of cold.
And of course, make sure they have enough food and water.
Usually a little extra food. The more that you're outside, the more you got to eat. I mean, that's it. And the water, you just got to make sure. Again, if it's outside, it's got to be broken up, or you bring out some hot water and just make sure that the water is unfrozen every day.
Finally, for those animals antsy to get outside and play, short, brisk walks are good for physical exercise.
Yeah, so it's really good to take them out on brief, short walks and keep up their metabolism, keep up their energy, and makes them warmer, and honestly, it keeps them in shape.
One more thing is look at what you're feeding your pet. A protein-rich diet is important. It ensures they're getting all the nutrients they need to stay healthy and warm. Meteorologist Kirsten Lang.
Well, still ahead, we're revealing the brand new winter weather outlook, our prediction for just how cold and wet this winter is going to be. Plus, auto essentials for an Oklahoma winter. Based on past winter events, we'll show you how to build a winter car kit and the must-have items that just might save your life in an emergency. But as we go to our break, our winter weather trivia.
Network.
Welcome back to Winter Ready, the Two Works for You Winter Weather Special. Being safe while driving in your car should always be a top priority. We went to AAA to get the definite answer on what you should carry in the back of your vehicle.
So what we're talking about today are a few of the things that you might want to consider to put in your trunk. Now, it basically is the difference between how much time do you spend on rural roads versus city roads. So the first thing during the winter is to make sure that you have an all-season formula or it says winter blend. Otherwise, your windshield wiper reservoir is going to freeze. They'll be of no use to you. This is an interesting concept. This is clay-based kitty litter. Clay-based, meaning that if you get stuck in ice and snow, you throw this around the traction wheels, it should give you just enough traction to get out of there. Jumper cables we suggest. Flashlight, emergency road kit with a few little things, some emergency scarf, gloves, a little shovel, flashers. It's got some hand warmers, a little, few Band-Aids, things like that. That's a good idea. This is probably overkill for Tulsa, Oklahoma, a snow shovel, but you get the general idea. You want to be able to dig yourself out if you need to. We highly suggest having a really good scraper and brush so that you can get that snow off of your vehicle and get your visibility where it needs to be. Something as simple as a roll of paper towels. If you're in muck and mire, you're going to want to clean up a little bit. Having a blanket, if you're going to be stranded by the side of the road, you're going to want warmth. And speaking of warmth, I've got a hat. I've got a pair of winter gloves. These are things that I don't use on a daily basis that I can throw in my trunk. And this is an old winter jacket that I've stopped using, so I keep it in the trunk just in case.
Well, now it's time for our winter weather outlook, our prediction for what is to be expected over the next 90 days. Now, there's a good chance this winter will be an El Nino winter, but what exactly does that mean?
Snow, ice, fires. As global sea surface temperatures continue to warm, El Nino begins to develop. Right now, seawater temperatures continue to warm, and there is an 80% chance that we will designate this pattern to be an official El Nino this winter. But what exactly is El Nino? El Nino is part of a normal climate pattern that occurs when sea surface temperatures just off the coast of South America begin to rise to above normal levels for an extended period of time. Let's take a look to see how exactly this occurs. In normal conditions, easterly winds blow warm surface waters off the coast of South America towards Asia, allowing for a healthy balance in ocean temperatures. During El Nino, weaker easterly winds allow for warmer water to stay near South America. All this together creates a pattern change for most of the U.S. Typically, during El Nino years, low pressure develops in the Gulf of Alaska, which in return creates warmer air for western Canada and pushes the polar jet further east, which keeps colder air confined to the eastern United States. But this also allows for a more active subtropical jet.
And I do believe that active subtropical jet this year is going to be able to tap into some of that cold air from the north and create a really interesting weather. And when I say interesting, here's what I'm thinking. Here's our winter headlines. We're expecting more snow than normal here in the Tulsa area. And there's also a higher probability for an ice event to occur this winter as well. And we've seen that looking back at El Nino years. We've seen some significant ice storms affect green country. And then I do expect us to start cold. We've already seen that this November. And especially as we head towards early December, it's going to be really cold. Now, as we head towards February and March, things will begin to moderate. So let's walk you through this the next couple of months. Normal high for December is about 49 degrees. Normal low is at 30. I'm forecasting 49 and 31 because of the increased cloud cover. That should keep temperatures on average a little warmer during the morning lows. But that still means that means that we could potentially still see some bitter cold attacks in our area where we see temperatures near 0 degrees, but on average, we will stick closer to normal. I'm also predicting one big snow event where we could see about 7 inches of snowfall for the month of December. Now, as we head towards January, January is going to be rather cold across the area. Normal high 48. I'm actually going below that for our normal high, or for our high on average this January. We should average slightly below normal. Morning lows are going to be up because of the increasing chances for precip in the area in January, and also the potential for more snow. And I think January is when we could potentially see a significant ice event across the area. Now, you see the trend with temperatures. We begin to moderate some. Normal high 53. I'm going above that by February as we see temperatures warm, but with more storm systems coming across the area, still going with that potential for some significant snow in our area as we head towards February. And I also believe with El Nino potential across the area, that could set the stage for an early start to our severe weather season, and that would get underway by March. So as you can see, a lot of active weather expected over the next several months. We have much more coming your way. Stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the 2018 Winter Weather Special. We've been without any major winter storms for several years now, but meteorologist Brandon Woolley takes a look back at some of the most memorable storms of this century.
I handpicked a few memorable events from the 2000s, starting with December 12th in 2000. Northeast Oklahoma received snow with 8 to 12 inches north of Highway 412, including 16 inches in Big Cabin in Craig County. East Central Oklahoma had a mix of sleet and freezing rain, while Southeast Oklahoma received significant ice. On the 3rd and 4th in December of 2002, an ice storm affected green country. 6,000 homes in Sand Springs and Bartlesville lost power. Many roads became slick and hazardous, forcing schools to close on the 4th. The next year, in 2003, on December 9th, was back to snow. A band of moderate to even heavy snow developed from northern Osage County through western and southern Tulsa County. The heaviest snow amounts included 9.5 inches near Hominy, 8 inches in Jenks, 7 inches in 4 Acre, and 6 inches in Pawhuska and Bixby. Then we fast forward to December 9th and 10th of 2007. One of the most destructive ice storms in the state's history struck the region. 1 to 2 inches of ice accumulated over a roughly 40-mile wide area along the Interstate 44 corridor, causing widespread power outages for about 1 million people, some whom were without power for a few weeks. The total damage for the entire event was $600 million. On Christmas Eve of 2009, a blizzard struck with heavy snow and wind gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour. The blowing snow reduced visibility to near zero for several hours and made travel nearly impossible. 4 to 6 inches was common in northeast Oklahoma, with 6 to 10 inches in western Pawnee County and into Osage County. Then there was February of 2011 with multiple days of events. The 1st of February brought us a blizzard in that 10 to 15 inches of snow was common. Some areas got 18 to 21 inches with snow drifts of 3 to 5 feet. A single storm record of 14 inches fell in the Tulsa metro area. Then on the 3rd of February, morning lows of 5 to 15 below were certainly common. On the 8th, 18 to 25 inches of snow fell in northern Osage County. Now, combined with the February 1st event, some locations saw nearly 4 feet of snow in just over a week's time. Then we'll end with Oklahoma's state record for the lowest temperature. This occurred on February 10th when Nowata observed 31 degrees below zero. Stay warm this winter. Meteorologist Brandon Woolley, 2 Works for You
Network.
2 Works for You is a historic part of Northeast Oklahoma, and that includes our landmark Art Deco tower on top of our Brookside studios. We recently made a new addition to that tower that will help keep you and your family safe during Oklahoma's ever-changing weather.
It stood tall for more than 6 decades, a Brookside beacon rising high above our historic studios. Our tower went up in 1957 on top of the new home of KVOO TV. It survived a 1974 tornado that tore through part of Brookside. And then in 1979, Tulsa's first Doppler radar was installed on top of the tower. In recent years, during the spring, a family of red-tailed hawks has called the tower home. Our live camera let people around the world watch the babies grow. Fast forward to 2018 and a new look for this local landmark. 2 computer-controlled panels, each with hundreds of high-intensity LEDs, will now light up our tower at night. A quick glance will give you an idea of the forecast. Red for severe weather, blue when it's clear. We'll be able to change the colors too for special occasions. Green for St. Patrick's Day, pink for breast cancer awareness. It's another way 2 cares for the community, shining a light to bring us closer together and keep you safe.